is Nicole Dao. I am currently the Acting National Director at the Media Institute of Southern Africa, Lesotho. Mr. Lesotho is a media NGO. We work to promote press freedom, freedom of expression, as well as we do media monitoring to ensure that the media abides to the highest standards in journalism, so as to better represent the public and the news that they cover. Nicole Dao. So there's a reason why I do not speak very fluent, articulate. Sesotho, what did you say? That one. So my mother, Padinyani Dao, she went to study in Russia many years ago. She's late now. So when she went to study in Russia, that's when I was born. But unfortunately, she passed away when I was 9. And my father was not really in the picture, well, at all. But that's where they met. And then at 12 years old, in 2006, that's when I came to Lesotho to join my mother's family here
2006?
in Lesotho. Yes.
Oh, how fun.
So when I came to Lesotho in 2006, I also didn't know English. And I was thrown into the education system. I had to write my exams. I only spoke Russian.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I had to learn English. I started in standard 6. And then imagine the following year I had to write my standard 7 examinations. So I had to learn English very quickly. But yes, so I had to start with English because I needed English to pass my examinations. So, and then Sesotho had to take the back banner because most of what I was learning was in English. So it essentially became my primary language. And Sesotho became the foreign language now that I was learning. And so that's why. And then, then I went to Roma. At Roma, I double majored in linguistics and English literature. To be honest, when I went to varsity, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had so many interests. I wanted to act, I wanted to sing, I wanted to be a librarian, I wanted to be an investigator, I wanted to be an activist, so many things. But what I did at Roma, linguistics and English literature, they sort of encompassed everything that I liked. You know, languages, literature, writing, because I've always been a creative writer. Writing, everything. So, and then in my last year, I had my son. I had my son in my final year, and I also got married in my final year. So after that, after graduating, I focused on family commitments. It also made sense, you know. I focused on family commitments, and then, but before then, during varsity, I did a lot of volunteer work. I once volunteered at the garage, because not garage like a filling station, but where they fix cars, because I simply wanted to learn about cars. I was actually trying to combat the stereotype that women don't know anything about cars. So I volunteered because I wanted to know more about cars. But because I'm a woman, they put me in the sales where you sell tires. So now I know a lot about tires. But it was fun. And then of course during schooling I also worked there, you know, to pay rent during holidays. Yes. So then after graduating 3 years later, you know, you're applying, but in a relaxed way, because I still enjoyed staying home with my son, especially because those early 3 years are very formative in a child's life, so I didn't mind. And then my first internship was at Kingdom Digital News, which was a platform that was created by MNN Center for Investigative Journalism. But Kingdom Digital News was let me not go into details. So that was my first internship. It was going to pay me 500 a month.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm no longer a child. I have a
You're a
family. I'm a mother, and but it worked.
Yeah.
And I believe that I think that's where my life took. That's where my professional life took direction.
Yeah.
Because I had so many interests, it could have gone either way. I could have gone into whatever it is. But I think that internship was the one that set the course. Because after my internship at Kingdom Digital News, then I got a fellowship at Eminence Center for Investigate Eminence CIJ. After my fellowship, I got a full-time position. And that's how it began. So journalism once again encompassed everything that I loved, because previously I've been a creative writer. I actually have published I've been published in books, anthology of short stories. So so journalism it like I said, it included my love for writing, my love for advocacy. I've always been very strong on what I believe in, never been afraid to stand up for what I believe in, to stand up for those that I love, and I've always been very vocal and very expressive about what I believe in. And you know, it's media, so that's how I started my journey into the media. I mentioned my mom, Badinyani Tau, but I feel like it's also very important to mention my second mom, my aunt, who was responsible for bringing me to Lesotho and for giving me a home, a family. I mean, obviously I had a home, you know, because it's family, but I believe that throughout my life, I've really had women being there for me. From when I was in Russia until I got to Lesotho, women have been there for me. Women have been kind to me and supportive. And I just wanted to say that my aunt, who was essentially my mom, she became very instrumental in making me feel welcome, not making Lesotho a strange place for me. She was very accommodating. She was very kind. I've always been very inquisitive, very curious. And you know, in our culture, children, they're not very, at least back then, they were not very encouraged to ask too many questions, you know. Just do as we say, not as you do. But my mom, my aunt, she really gave me the space to be myself, to ask questions. If I don't feel comfortable with something, she would accommodate me in that. So I just wanted to, because it's women, you know, so I just wanted to mention that. And then of course my relatives, they've also been there for me. When I first took on this role of the acting national director, I know we say acting for the technicality part of it, but I've really been the fully fledged national director. This is where I understood what leadership is and what it entails. So what does it look like every day for me? I'm still learning a lot, but making executive decisions on behalf of a team, setting course, direction for today, for this week, for this month, and the rest of the year. But it all needs to be interconnected. Delegating tasks, which is something that a lot of leaders, I think, they struggle with. You take on a lot of yourself. That is what I'm saying. I'm still learning to navigate the space. But leadership, to me, I am a media advocate, not just as Miss Lesotho, but even as a professional. And as a leader within this space, I feel like we look at the environment, media in Lesotho. We see the gaps, we see the imperfections, and so on. And so I try to see how can MISA address these issues. One, but also how can MISA be there for the media professionals that are already within the sector, whether they are aspiring, or they're starting out, or they have been around for a while. What can we do to better, what can we do to meet their needs so that they can produce quality work, but also in an environment that is safe physically, physically and emotionally. So when you find yourself being at MISA means being able to make a difference. And so whatever decisions that I make with my team, we try to focus on how will it benefit the media landscape in Lesotho as well as the media professionals that live within it. But also currently we've also been thinking in how do we build a bridge between the media and the public, you know? So currently being in this leadership position is also about creating that sort of environment where I think I don't want to over explain. So every little decision, and none of these decisions are little, you know, because none of these decisions are little because they contribute to something bigger. So we have to be, so I've had to be very strategic, very considerate, and really not just make decisions as somebody in a position of leadership, but also thinking as a journalist and also thinking as a reader. You know, choice sounds a lot like free will. A lot of times, for some reason, especially when you grow up as a woman, sometimes it feels like the society makes decisions for you. Society and social norms, they set up the expectations of what a woman should be, how she should act, even as a woman leader, you know. And then somewhere along the way, I think, so what happened is, since last year I've been working very hard, and at some point I got very sick because I was handling a lot. I wasn't sleeping, you know. I kept on saying sleep is for the wicked. We will sleep when we rest, you know. But I'm also a mother. I'm a mother to 2 boys. I tend to work from home a lot, and it's just me. It's been just me from the very beginning. And MISA is still going through like a phase, a difficult phase. So I've had to shoulder a lot of responsibilities, a lot of tasks, and of course the pressure, you know. And at some point I got very sick, and every doctor I saw was like, you need to sleep, you need to rest. And I kept on saying, I need you to give me medication that will keep me going, not rest. But then eventually your body will tell you when it's time to rest. So when my body started giving up on me, and I thought about this, I said, Nicole, as much as you're working hard, but this is still your life. As far as we know, you only get one. If you pass away or something happens to you, people just move on, you know. And my kids need me, and I need to live my life and take every day as though it's my last day, you know. So that's when I started making decisions. That's when I realized that I can say no. I can say no. Because also when you are a woman and a leader and you are starting out, you always want to say yes to everything. Yes to family commitments, yes to at home, yes at work, yes everywhere. So I said you can say no. Nobody's going to die because you didn't send an email today, you know. So I started, that's where I became more aware of my own decisions, of my own choice, that I can say no, that I can set healthy boundaries, that I hope that's the choice that you're talking about. And there's also free will, and that is, you don't have to do things the way people tell you to do them. You can do them your way, especially if it's to take care of your own well-being. And you know, because also when you are building something, if you are tired, if you are sick, the quality of your work will get impacted. So doing things on your own terms to protect your well-being, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. It's also to protect the integrity of your work. And so that is where I realized the importance of choice, and that I have a choice. I can say no, like I said, no. I can set the boundaries. I can be myself. I can be unapologetically myself. And so that is where that is where that is where I stepped into myself even more. And I felt empowered by the fact that I do have a choice.
Okay.
Simply put, because if you do not say something, then something will be said for you. You know, for many years we've allowed other people, as women, we've led, not even allowed, we did not even have that privilege. We've led people, other people, men, make decisions for us, not even on our behalf, but for us. Women for centuries have been fighting, to get even basic rights, right? I don't think a lot of women do not realize how far we've come. How far we've come, but at the same time, how only recently this changes happened, especially in a country like Lesotho. Take 30 years ago, just 30 something years ago, women were still considered like a minor. Women were regarded as minors. So you couldn't do things like open a bank account, own land, things like that. And that is just less than 50 years ago. So when we talk about the importance of how did you say it? Of making, you use the word making not raising your voice, but making yourself heard. Is because, like I said, the women that have fought for our rights, basic rights, but still, in Lesotho, for example, we are still a very much patriarchal society. And in patriarchy, women, we are discouraged from being expressive. We are discouraged from raising our voices. We are discouraged from being opinionated so much and so on, right? Even the way women talk sometimes, how when I speak to you, I'll speak to you in this voice, but the moment I speak in public or I speak to a man, I say, no, we shouldn't speak like that. That is also, you are restricting your power from the core. You're already restricting your power. And so, one of the reasons why we are held back, why we've been held back as a country and as a society, is because we've held women back. We've held back their voices. We've held back their voices. And by holding back their voices, we have deprived this country of a woman's potential.
Very true.
We've created spaces that are void of a woman's touch. I'm not just talking about a toilet without a toilet seat. I'm talking about laws and regulations that do not accommodate women. And women, we are part of this society. If you hold back women, you're holding back the rest of society. That is why right now women have had to step up. Because of this global economical challenges, women have had to step up, right? Now we have women breadwinners. Something that 30 years ago was, what do you mean a woman is a breadwinner? It was men who went to the mines, right? But now it's women who go to South Africa to become, whether it's domestic workers, factory workers, but they're breadwinners. And that is the importance of including women's voice in every space, because then it contributes to the country's development. If women didn't step up in their current roles, imagine where we would have been as a country. Of course, I'm happy. For obvious reasons.
It's an achievement.
It is an achievement, but I still feel like we have some way to go, because as much as we have more women in media occupying such positions as editors, producers, you know, it's an achievement, yes. But I feel like our traditions, our cultural norms, they still influence the way women are perceived in this space, as well as the way women also move.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if, you know, there's a term called honorary man.
Yeah.
Is when we have women in leadership roles, and you'd think it's an achievement, but they still behave as men would in those positions. Because but it's understandable, you know, because to be in a position of leadership, or to occupy a space that was previously usually set aside for men, that is also powerful. But to remain in that space, that means you need to develop thick skin. And so sometimes instead of building on the potential that you already have as a woman, instead we resort to this toxic masculinity and what it takes to remain in those positions. And so we end up becoming the honorary man, and we end up treating those that work with us the way they would be treated if it was a man in that position. So I feel like there is progress, but we need to address these harmful social norms. We need to address this toxic dynamics that we sometimes find in workplaces. Because if somebody is behaving like an honorary man, it means that we are still not progressing. There's still a barrier.
Yeah.
So as women, we really need to be more empowered by our own, by the fact that you are a woman. We really need to be more there for each other. You see, men have a brotherhood. We need to have a sisterhood. Because, so I feel like as much as there's progress, but we still need to address these harmful social norms that are still holding us back. Okay, first of all, I really do love the influencer space, right? Content creators or influencers, and I love that, and I love how women are thriving. Basutu women are thriving in that space. We have some beautiful, brilliant women in those spaces. Women who are positive change makers. Women who are expressive. You know, if they see that something is wrong, they take that platform and they make it known that no, this is wrong, I do not agree with this, you know. People don't realize what a snowballing effect that has, because if you don't talk about something, someone else will also do this and not talk about something. But if they feel like, no, this man, she feels very strongly on this issue, and then others will feel empowered to do the same. But at the same time, like you're saying, it has also brought in new issues like technology facilitated gender-based violence, right? Like cybersecurity threats. So this is how it was explained to me. When we build a house, you always make sure that you always make sure that you build a wall around the house, if you can, and then you install butlers, you have a good lock and everything, right? But we do not apply the same level of security in our own lives as we navigate our professional, journey, through our professional journey. And so when you're a woman online, you also need to be aware of the security risks. and make sure that you're equipped enough to deal with them. Because right now, for example, somebody has 500,000 followers. Just one security threat and she loses the whole account.
Everything.
You know what I mean? And so our online presence, because online you're building something, just the way you've been building a house, you're building something. And so just the same way you were building a house, while you're building online, make sure that it is well secured. And educate yourself on the different ways that you can protect yourself online. But also reach out to, not even reach out, but become part of networks that make it easier for you to access certain services, trainings, or even like a safe haven, because you never know what might happen. You know, so that there's a lot of organizations. Even MISA, you know, we always do trainings, and so if you want to be part of a network that can give you access to such trainings, then become a member. You know, become a member, or join an association, or even online. There's so many opportunities. But treat your online presence the same way you treat your own house. First and foremost, invest in your education. Invest in your education. Whatever background you come from, invest in your education, because education, that is something that nobody else can take away from you. Varsity is not simply about, let's say, university. It's not simply about learning a skill. It's about developing a set of critical it's about developing your critical thinking abilities, so that you are able to challenge as well as tackle the problems of the world, the problems in your country and the problems in your community. So invest in your education first and foremost. But then to become a journalist, you need to, you know, the thing is, it's a bit, people become journalists for different reasons. You know, and maybe that is your passion. You just want to report, you know, you want to be there when it's happening. So it could be that. But personally, I am still a journalist. I don't want to say I became a journalist, because it wasn't my initial goal. But I remained as a journalist. I am still a journalist, because I'm sorry if I'm being slow a bit, but I've always wanted to make a difference in this world. You know, be a positive change maker. And being a journalist is a way of doing that. So I did say that there's different kinds of journalists, but journalism at the heart is always the same. It's about making a difference. It's about being of service to the people, and it's about information integrity. So if you want to be in journalism, make sure that your values align that way. That you value information integrity, that you want to make a difference, and that you value education. Because a journalist also has to be a jack of all trades. You need to be able to understand different professions. You need to be able to understand world problems. You need to understand issues, you know. And because we live in an ever-evolving world, you're going to need to keep up with these changes. And so that is why going to varsity isn't going to be the end of your educational journey. You're going to learn over and over again, but that is just the job of being a journalist. So, but most importantly, if you want to be a journalist, you need to be truth. You need to there must be a better. Be true to yourself. Stand on your truth. Stand in your truth. Yes.
Right?
You need to stand in your truth. You understand? Because if you're honest with yourself, then you will be able to be honest with the public and with the reader. So you need to be somebody who values truth. Yeah. The thing is, that is why they say if you are more silent, you will probably be more likable. You know, people won't have that many problems with you. Like I said, in our culture, we are discouraged from being. You understand, and that is one of the things that keeps us silent, because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to attract unnecessary attention. We don't want to be disliked, you know, because Lesotho is a small country.
Yeah.
You know, you really can't afford to be disliked. It will travel very quickly, you know. But at the same time, if you keep yourself silent, this is my belief, you won't progress in life as much as you would if you stood in your truth. If you made yourself heard. You're not going to make a difference in life by being quiet.
Yeah.
Nothing great has been done in this world by staying quiet. I would love to say that whether you are heard or you keep yourself silent, you will never as a woman be perfect in this world. People will always have something to say about you. People have something to say about Mother Teresa. People have something to say about Oprah Winfrey. People will always have something negative to say about you. So instead, just do what you want to do. Break barriers, break ceilings, break records, because you only live one life. This life and our patriarchal society is not interested in seeing you reach your full potential. You know, there will always be forces pulling you down. But I'm telling you, you are not going to achieve, nobody is going to achieve anything great by remaining small and by remaining silent. And also, don't be worried that you're not Oprah Winfrey. Every small act contributes to the bigger picture. That is why if you are being kind to one person, that person will pay that kindness forward. You know, you don't know if you are helping a future doctor who is going to save hundreds of lives, who might find a cure for all of these diseases. So every little act, it contributes to the greater good. So just my advice to any woman, to every woman, is be unapologetically yourself. In 5 years' time, I see a media landscape that is empowered. I see journalists who are fully aware of their power and are using that power to influence positive change. I see a media landscape. I see the media sector in Lesotho thriving, but also as a safe space. Safe space for those that value information integrity, for those that value truth, and for those who value freedom of expression. I would just want my fellow women, is that still right? And not just women, even men, that it is okay to be yourself. That I think it's just that I've always been myself. Sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes there's a lot of misunderstanding. But I wouldn't have come this far in life, and I've come very far if I wasn't myself. So be yourself, but also be kind. So my legacy, although it's a very big word, is to just leave a space where empathy thrives.
Wow. Mohiwa the Big Shift Media ke tso ditaba mosadi o sa buile mme ke itse ya senang ditsebe go kwa ditaba tsena e tla ba mosadi o le kwala a go itse gore kgwedi ena go latela baiti ba ntseng ba tloka kwano ebe ba tlo fetola bophelo ba hao ka nnete o a tshisa ke a belela utlwa ke ka she left something out, but anyway I'll give you a chance to do that. O bohlokwa mme haholo fela, and basadi ha re meng ka maoto ha re etse gore kgwedi ena ya August diphato ha e fela re be re ikahile ka ditaba tsohle tse ntseng di hlahella kwano ho the Big Shift Media podcast. Ka nnete hohle mo le leng hona teng ha re tshwareng ka matsoho ha re sebediseng dikelello ska tsamaya o le mong ha o tlo gona le dikgallo tse o nang le tsona kopana le ba bang bo hopola gore ba ka tseba ba o tlatseletsa ya ba o tswela pele ha re holeng ha mmogo ha re tshwaraneng ka matsoho. We love you, Nick.
Thank you very much.
It has been a great pleasure having you here. Re motlotlo ka wena o etsa mosebetsi o motle, and tate modimo a o boloke o ntse le tjena o tswele pele ho pusha o ntse o pusha ka matla. Can I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Moi re fihlile qetelong ya mosebetsi wa rona go fihleletse re kopana hape nakong e tlang. Hopola o bohlokwa mme re leboha tshehetso ya hao ya go re follower wa re latela o like mosebetsi wa rona o ntse bile o share a se ke ra phomolang ha re tsweleng pele go nna ntse re etsa jwalo ha ebe kgotso.